Last week we covered a number of key topics, including the idea that matter and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only changed. We learned that matter is just stuff, and energy is how stuff changes. We learned that energy can exist as four key forms: light, heat, motion, and chemical bonds. We said all matter is made from atoms, and different kinds of atoms are called elements. So for example, carbon and oxygen and hydrogen are each different kinds of elements. We also said that if something loses mass, it has to lose atoms, and if something gains mass, it has to gain atoms. We said that atoms can be bonded together to form molecules, and that atoms on molecules can be rearranged to form new molecules. So for example, below you see glucose and oxygen, and those atoms can be rearranged to form carbon dioxide and water molecules. Finally, we said that molecules can store energy in their chemical bonds, and that carbon-carbon and carbon-hydrogen are considered to be high-energy bonds. The focus for this week will be on cellular processes that enable matter and energy to move between the environment and to living organisms. In particular, we'll focus on four key cellular processes: photosynthesis, cellular respiration, decomposition, and combustion or burning. For this week, we'll start day one with one of two options, or possibly both. Option A involves an investigation entailing respiration with yeast cells and sugar inside of a plastic sandwich bag. The second option, option B, involves a data dive involving 3 different experiments and their data as they pertain to unexpected water, we'll say. On day 2, again, we'll have core ideas. And again, these are just ideas and facts and concepts that will help you to develop more refined explanations and more detailed explanations about these natural phenomena. On day 3, you will have an investigation in which you'll be modeling molecular processes that occur during respiration and photosynthesis. And if time allows, you'll be creating a tabletop ecosystem. On day 4, you'll have a review and an assessment of the content from this week. And if time allows, on day 5, you'll have career and community connections, in which you will apply these concepts to considerations that are relevant to your future careers and to your local communities. For your day 1 activities this week, you have 2 options. Option A is what we're calling respiration in a bag. What you'll be doing is adding single-celled organisms called yeast to a bag along with sugar and warm water. Yeast tend to be used in baking and come in packets that often look like this. When you add yeast and sugar and warm water to a plastic sandwich bag, you should see it start to inflate like so. You'll notice that this bag, which was deflated originally, is pretty tight right now with the gas that has built up. And your job will be to figure out why the bags have inflated over time. Now, sometimes this doesn't work, but in general, if it works, your bag should look like this, nice and inflated, almost looking like they might pop. In fact, sometimes they do. Option B is what we're calling the Thirsty Moth Data Dive. And this actually comes from 3 real experiments that were conducted in the 1900s. The first of those was in the early 1900s and was conducted by a scientist named Dr. Stephen Babcock. Dr. Babcock decided he wanted to have a malted milkshake one day, and when he reached for a jar of malted milk, he saw that there was a grub inside. And that grub was actually a moth larva. And this perplexed Dr. Babcock because he knew that the larva was 75% water, but the malted milk was 0% water. And so there was a conundrum. How is it that this thing that was mostly water could survive in an environment that was sealed and completely free of water? Later on, more scientists would conduct more experiments to look at how this was possible. And your job will be to figure out where this water came from and how it was that these organisms could survive in an environment where there was no water whatsoever. As you're doing your day 1 activities, remember that matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Matter can only change. All matter consists of atoms, and atoms can be moved from one molecule to another. In other words, we can rearrange the atoms on some molecules to form new molecules. That information will be key for both of these activities and addressing both of these questions. Good luck.